Oh man, if you're not sick of that little jingle yet, you have 12 more hours to get there. Hi, Ruby.
Hi.
Ruby's joining me for this one because we have a very special guest joining us as our Raise the Region interviews continue. Quick recap: we're at just over $5,300 donated by all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember, Raise the Region goes a little bit further with your donations as those funds are matched by our amazing friends over at Blaze Alexander. Thank you to FCFP out there for organizing this. And remember, not only CTL, but a ton of other nonprofits in the area. One I'm sure we'll talk about in this interview is also fundraising right now. So please make sure you're checking out not only Community Theater League, but all the other great theaters and all the other nonprofits in the area that are raising funds right now. So thank you, everyone out there. We have a special guest who actually joined us on Raise the Region a few years ago with her mom. This year she's flying solo because we couldn't book the mom. She's just too busy. So we want to welcome Tess Marshall.
Hi.
Tess Marshall. Hi,
Hello.
Tess.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
So good. Thank you for having me. I can't believe that's already been several years ago. It was a shock to hear.
I think it was like the 2021 coming out of COVID year when we had you and Becky on.
I think you're right. I mean, I was still staying with my parents in Pennsylvania, so it was definitely, I mean, it's hard to believe that the pandemic now has been kind of extended into the life that we now have come to accept. But I guess you're right. Like, yeah, we're in year 2024. That was definitely 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, it's so weird because we're also only 18 and 19 still. So I don't understand how.
You don't understand. I don't understand.
No, I don't.
Where did the time go?
Tess, you were a CTL kiddo.
Yeah.
Doing a ton of shows. Would you say a ton of shows here, or?
I felt like I was kind of always in the building. I was always there. And what's interesting is during my time at CTL Community Arts Center, Uptown Music Collective, I was a Williamsport kid. I was just like everything that Williamsport had to offer. I was just like in there. Thank you, Becky Marshall, right. Who was too busy indeed to be booked today. Yeah. But I was at CTL. I did several shows at CTL, but then I also facilitated the partnership between the Uptown Music Collective and CTL, so that I was in CTL space doing collective things as well. So
yeah. Because you were a collective kid first. Like you were.
I was a collective kid first. Yeah.
What year did you start the Uptown Music Collective, who's also raising funds right now? So check them out. They do amazing work all over the city of Williamsport, and now they're traveling and doing shows elsewhere. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. But
they're amazing.
What year did you start that?
I believe I really should have prepared for this, shouldn't I have?
Listen, we're waiting. The people just want to see Tess Marshall on screen. They've seen her on Instagram. Titanic. We'll get there. It's okay, people. Hang on.
We'll get there. I believe I joined in like 2008 or 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like going into high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edit that out. We'll snip that part out.
Cut it out. Cut it out. Oh, this is live. Shit.
Live. That's fine. Great. All 5 people watching right now.
I love it.
So because I remember, and I think we talked about this last time, you did a student thing here, which was one of the first times, I think, like an active student. Kyle Wilson directed a main stage, and then you did like a showcase or something of like musical theater songs.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you are correct.
I got no memory of this.
I need to start journaling. I really need to start writing things down. I know that I did do Rochelle. Rochelle she directed a student-led thing that I was in. I know that I did. There's a video at my parents' house somewhere of the performance that you're talking about.
There you go.
The musical review situation.
Yeah. I'm trying to like remember. Now I don't remember because I also wasn't like here, but that's fine.
Yeah, you weren't fully, you hadn't dived in yet.
Yeah. Thank God. I was still like, yeah.
Now that we've thrown out the year, you're exempt from early 2000s.
So let me ask. So where are you broadcast? Where are you at right now?
I'm at my apartment in New York City, and it's beautiful. Thank you for keeping me trapped inside. I'm kidding. I'm so happy to be here. It is so beautiful though. Finally, finally. In New York, I feel it's kind of the last to get it because our buildings are so tall. So all the streets are shady and cold, and the sun goes down way earlier here than anywhere else because it goes over the skyscrapers. And you're like, well, it's 3:30. Goodbye.
What an awful place to live. You're making it sound
Yeah,
like
well, we love it. I don't ask me why, but we love it.
So you were one of our kiddos that went off, did CTL stuff, did Uptown stuff, and then you're now living and working in New York City as an actress.
Yeah, that's correct, Seth.
You did the thing, Tess.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I'm doing the thing.
Yeah, it's a wild career. I feel so blessed though to have come from such a rich, opportunistic place because I felt like growing up, specifically in Williamsport, I had access to things I didn't know at the time were luxuries, but looking back, oh my God, it was just amazing to have so many performance opportunities, the kind of character building and confidence building and fly by the seat of your pants training and improvisational training and workplace relationship training that comes from just like trial by fire is so incredibly invaluable. And looking back, I mean, the show that I'm in currently requires such a level of like caution to the wind, which is so terrifying, especially on a New York City stage, because the people coming to see you every night it feels high stakes to be performing in the city. But I was just talking to somebody the other day about the Uptown Music Collective and CTL going and Act Up Productions, which have now turned into something else. But so much opportunity to just kind of like try it out and throw stuff at the wall and see what stuck. Yeah. And I feel so fortunate because that is such a huge part of what I do daily. So, and I got such young exposure to those skills, which take time to develop. So I felt like I kind of got like a running start because of how young I was thrown into all of that. And working with people so much older than me with so much more experience than me who are willing to offer information and mentor and help and guide was just so incredibly invaluable. And I knew it was fun, but I didn't realize at the time how much I'd use it.
For sure. Yeah. Walk me through it a little bit. So we have a ton of kiddos that come through like the Ray of Light program, our summer youth intensive, which was Act Up back when you went through it. Kiddos that want to then go on to either majoring in performing arts or do something with what they love to do in high school and at CTL. What's your recommendations for them? What are like one big piece of advice that you would give now that you're doing the thing?
Yeah.
Who wants to do the thing?
Make sure it's really, really, really what you want to do. Make sure it's your passion. Make sure it's something that you are willing to sacrifice for. I know that all of those things come with, when you're young, the stakes aren't as high, right? It feels like everything's kind of at your fingertips, and it is, and it's the beauty of being young and having endless opportunities and possibilities. Make sure that you really, really, really love it because it's a business just like anything else, and it requires just as much investment of your time, energy, money, resources as any sort of other path, if not more. But if you decide that you absolutely love it and you want to do this, don't have a plan B. That's my advice. No plan Bs. Make sure it's your passion. That's step one.
Yeah.
But step two, no plan Bs. I just find that everyone I know, especially now that I'm watching people kind of come into New York and go out of New York, they always say it's like the 3, 5, 7, 10 year rule. Yeah. It's like there's just a max exodus. 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. I don't know why 10. I guess 10 just feels more of a, I don't know, landmark in life than 9. But it's true. So all of the people who have left, who I have, personal experience with, did have a plan B, and they executed that plan B. So if it's what you want to do and you are willing to just put your nose to the grindstone and stick it out, don't get a freaking BA in something else. Like, go do it.
I think that's really great advice because I think for so long it's always like, I'm going to major in voice and then have a teaching degree, or I'm going to have something else. And I think that's always been looked at as really smart. And I think that is, on one hand, really smart to do, just in case.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. I think the perseverance and the drive that you need to succeed, like you're talking about, really you can't have anything on the back burner also cooking, and like
Mhm.
there's no laurels to rest on because
Right.
it's all on the line all the time. Like
Mhm.
there's much more scary moments than not scary moments. I feel like
Yeah.
for
Which is so it's a terrifying choice to
yeah,
make. But anything that's worth it is terrifying and uncertain, and there's no roadmap, right?
yeah,
I mean, I've been in the city for 7 years now, and I'm just now doing my first like huge gig. Um, and yeah, I mean, not to say that there aren't other ways that you will have to funnel to make money in this industry. You just will. There's no world in which you move to New York and don't have to work a side job. There just isn't.
yeah.
Um, which is also not meant for everyone, right? Like some people don't want to do that, and I like fully understand.
Yeah.
Um, but you also don't need a degree to do this. The training that comes with the degree is really that's it. That's the crux of it. The degree itself means nothing in this industry. So not me out here being like, don't go to school.
Don't go to school. Don't have a plan B.
Don't go to school. Don't have a plan B. Don't acquire debt.
Move
Just
to New York right now. You love it. Pick it up. Go. A 3-hour drive.
I did go to school. I did get the degree. I came from a very fortunate situation where I had parents who were willing and able to help me. And then I teach. I have a studio. I don't have a degree in teaching, and that's how I really make my living. And then I booked this amazing job, which is so great and temporary. And it's not lost on me that it's temporary, and I love it. It's amazing. I'm enjoying it so much. But like I have other sources of income.
There you go. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Until Marvel calls me, I'll be out here hustling.
There you go. Can we talk about that current gig you have right now?
Yeah.
Because it's amazing.
Yeah, so much fun. I feel so lucky. So for those who don't know,
Yeah.
there's this show called Titanic. It is a spin-off of the story of the Titanic as told through the eyes and music of Celine Dion.
There you go. Oh, we didn't even pay for that. I was like, no way she's gonna do the impression. I was like, we don't have that. We don't have the face and everything.
Yeah, and it's so much fun, and I have had my eyes on it for a very long time. Okay. It runs off Broadway here in the city. It's kind of in this little niche market in New York, off Broadway versus commercial versus experimental theater. Everything in New York now is commercial. So it has become commercial. It is now a beast, but it's so much fun. It's running off Broadway at the Daryl Roth Theater near Union Square. You can get tickets online. You should come check my Instagram for when I'll be on. I'm a swing.
We'll put it in the description too.
There you go.
And we'll put Tessa's handles and all of that so you can follow her.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm a swing at Titanic. I cover all of the women. So I cover Celine Dion, Rose DeWitt Bukater, Molly Brown, and then 2 of the onstage female ensemble singers. And it's just so much fun. It's a beast of a job. I go to work every day. I don't know what my job is going to be. I just did a whole week last week as Celine. I'm doing a whole week this week as Molly. They're completely different sings, completely different skill sets. So grateful to the Uptown Music Collective for my rock vocal training. It is so useful here. But it's just so much fun. We play to sold out crowds every night. People love it. It's just like a kooky, crazy, fun time. I feel so lucky to get to do something that's just like a hoot every night.
There's not a marketing thing that they put out that's not hilarious. Mm-hmm. And like that's only 10 seconds. So like I can't imagine like how hilarious it is the entire time.
You have to come. Don't imagine. Come see it.
Let's go. Raise the Region. We'll see you next year. We're going to New York.
We're going to New York with no plan B and no student debt.
Talk to me a little bit, because that's very much comedy driven.
Yes, 100%.
What are you pulling out of your tool set to kind of keep up with that? Because you weren't like an improv kiddo in high school. Like you didn't have that kind of background, so like that's kind of like the new waters for you treading, right?
It is. Yes, it totally is in terms of career path. What's interesting is when the pandemic hit in 2020 and we were all kind of forced to stop and have a look and start over, especially within the entertainment business where there were no jobs to be had. There was no theater being made. TV production came to a halt as well. I kind of stopped and looked around and thought, like, am I doing what I want to be doing? We had a chance to like get off the hamster wheel of
Yeah.
auditioning every day at 4 o'clock in the morning and sitting outside. And it was just like this really nice reprieve of, wow, what I'm doing every day is really, really hard. And because I didn't have a plan B, I never really stopped to think about how hard it was. It was just like, it's Tuesday, get up and go, right? But I kind of stopped and thought, like, am I doing what I want to be doing? I thought the answer was yes. And then I was like the drama girl in college, in high school, and everything. I was like, give me a dramatic monologue 10 times out of 10. I love it. It's the best. You need me to cry? No worries. But then I was in the pandemic, and there was all of this new wave of theaters producing like concert scaled back versions of shows that were masked and distanced, and we all know. And I was offered a production of The Addams Family as Morticia, doing this like concert version, and it was paying like no money. It was in like bum Ohio. I was like, okay, sure. What else is going on, right? I'm at my parents' house in Pennsylvania at this point. I'm like, get me out of here. I love you, Mom and Dad. But so I went to Ohio and I did this thing, and it was a comedy. And I honestly didn't even really process that it was a comedy. I was just like, it's work, and that's what I want to do.
And
that job turned in. Sorry.
And you crushed it.
Thank you. Yes, it was broadcast because we were very much in the time of let's make this virtually, accessible. Thank you. It was so much fun. That turned into Elizabeth in Young Frankenstein, Janet in Rocky Horror, Belinda in Noises Off. It turned into comedy after comedy after comedy after comedy. And I found my like little stride. And what's so interesting is that although I do like, and I've done TV stuff with drama, and I love it so much, but there was this whole avenue of like this weird little kid in me that just never got to like let it out. And if you know me, as Seth knows me, I'm a freaking weirdo. Like I'm an absolute weirdo. I love laughing. I love making people laugh. I always have. But I just like never really kind of got the puzzle piece that kind of translated to career. And then COVID-19 gave everybody a second to just go, hold on. And the opportunities that started cropping up were all along this comedic vein. Then I continued working, and I have not done another drama since 2020. I haven't done a drama since 2019. Yeah. And even then in 2019, I had a comedic gig that I didn't process as comedic. I don't know what I was doing. I was on the hamster wheel. Anyway, and then I auditioned for Titanic while I was at another job. I was in Milwaukee doing a job at a great regional theater there. I auditioned for Titanic, got a final call back. They wouldn't let me go, which is a whole other story. So that opportunity passed, and I was furious because I thought that was my chance to be in this thing that I just feel is like so perfect for me. And the role at the time was a different role, and it felt right based on what I knew about the show. And that opportunity came and went. I fired my agent and we moved on with time. Then about 6 months later, I got another audition for the Celine Dion replacement, which Jackie Burns, Elphaba herself, got, which was lovely. Didn't get it. Went away to Bum, Michigan to do a gig. Had a great time. Came back, and 2 days after I got back, I had another audition, and it was for the role that I currently have. And I went in, and I had to do like this whole freeform improv in Celine Dion's voice for the first time ever. They just started asking questions, and I was like, okay. And at that point, when you get an opportunity that kind of comes out of the blue and you go, I know that this is meant for me, and I cannot have eyes on myself in this moment. I just have to do what's being asked of me. It was very much like, get back on the freaking hamster wheel. Don't think about it. Don't process it. Just do.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, I got the call that I got it, and that was 6 months ago. And I've been on the show for 6 months now, and I can't believe how quickly time is passing. And I'm having the time of my life.
That's awesome.
I'm having the time of my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so much fun. That was so much more than you asked for, but there you
go.
go.
No, but I think it's beautiful because I think you hit on the persistent thing again. Like if you're going to go into this career path, like some people would have been like, I missed that first one. It wasn't the top, like it wasn't right. And they would have stuck with that agent, and then they would have been like pushed elsewhere, and it just wouldn't have come. But like, I think having your eyes on something that you really, really know you're right for, and that you're persistent about, and you want to be seen again, and you get in there. And I mean, it took you 3 times, and that was
Took me 3 times and like almost a year.
yeah.
Yeah. A
And then
year.
the other thing is listening to the universe. I mean, obviously, you said like the last drama was 2019, and then like I don't think you were searching out for comedy roles, but they were just coming at you left and right, and then
Yeah.
having the insight to be like, "Whoa, wait a minute, I'm enjoying this more.
Mhm.
I'm booking more, or I'm booking better, or I'm booking
Way more,
yeah,
but way more. It's so
like
funny. Yeah. But I think too, and this is something that I learned from Williamsport and just like playing with kids your age, with adults older than you, like at CTL, at ACT UP, especially at the Uptown Music Collective too, like the whole flying by the seat of your pants thing that I talked about earlier is like truly where all of this is born from. Just having faith that you can take a step and then figure it out. Just start moving and then figure it out. The paralysis by analysis was something I really, really struggled with, especially as just like another girl in a sea of an industry just overwhelmed with girls doing the same thing I'm doing, right? And I think because I had so many opportunities to be around people who were encouraging and loving and also pushed me and like came down on me when I wasn't doing my best, like really came down on me. That kind of like little spark inside me just kind of was ignited at a young age, I think. And coming out into an industry where you have to be your own spark plug, you have to be your own motivator, you have to make sure that you're the one, it's on you, right? Was so awesome. And what was nurtured in me at a young age was that weird little part of me, right? That like, you're kind of funny.
well, and that's what I was just gonna say. I think Uptown and CTL both they gave you an environment of professionalism where you were doing things that other students in other areas would have never gotten the chance to do.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it had the sense of we're gonna put you in a professional box, but then we're gonna let you grow. However, your weird self wants to grow.
Yeah.
However you want to take this opportunity and make it whatever you want to make it.
Yeah.
Like some people come in and they take lessons at Uptown and then that's it, and then they become bankers or whatever.
Right. Which like great. We need those.
Yeah. And like some people do a show here and they never do a show again, but then they're backstage doing whatever because they really like backstage stuff. So I mean, I think that professionalism, that professional box that they're able to slip into just allows them to kind of grow quicker. And then it nurtures.
I totally agree. I also just think kids in general, especially with like the age of social media and being compared and the whole social anxiety game that I'm sure plays into adolescence and growing up with like so many eyes on you, which is just so uncomfortable and weird and bizarre and like should not be a thing. Like take your kids' phones away. Anyway, I think that kids are so afraid to be different. They're so, I think the coolest kids are not, and they're deemed weird and offbeat or interesting or whatever. And I think like those are the kids who are going to be the most successful. The ones who are just uninhibited by the judgment of, I don't know what that is, and it weirds me out. Like those are the people who go on and they're entrepreneurs or they're business owners or they're in the performing arts industry where eyes are on you all the time, judging you and making opinions about who you are based on one flash in the pan moment, right? Yeah. Well, it was so special to get to grow up and be who I was and not try to be anything different. And I didn't have the whole social media thing growing up because I'm old and that's just how it is. But
it was around. We just chose not to use it, right?
We didn't use it until college, right? But yeah. I just think nurturing the most interesting and different parts of kids is what makes them the most marketable, funnily enough. The things we try to repress and hide are actually the things that will probably get you working.
They make you stand out. Like they give you a hook. They make you stand out. They give you a hook, and all of them.
Yeah. And it's funny because you think you want to market yourself based on the way you want everyone to see you, but really what you're trying to hide is probably the thing that's most marketable.
There you go. $1 million advice right there.
That's my piece of advice. Go to school if you want to, but be a weirdo.
Go to school and be yourself.
Go to school and be yourself. Be yourself.
There you go. So I have to ask, the voice, was that something you practiced and practiced and practiced?
I'm obsessed with Celine Dion. I'm obsessed with her. I think she's a freak. I think she's a total freak. She's an alien. The way that she moves about the world is so not human. But she's gracious and she's kind.
Mhm.
And I just listened to every interview she's ever done. I've watched like every live performance she's ever done. And I'm obsessed with her, which helps because it's really easy to watch and stay engaged. But I would listen to that voice and be like, what is going on? And the key really is that it's a forward placement, but a French vowel. So it's all about the mouth placement, not necessarily resonance, which is interesting. And singing in that voice has been a challenge because when I do Celine, I sound nothing like myself, which has been also kind of something to reckon with because it's like I'm performing on stage like it's crazy. This show is so popular and has been so popular, and it keeps getting extended and will continue to be so popular. We're performing for like big celebrities every night.
Come on, name drop. Let's go. Name drop.
Margot Robbie was there 2 nights ago. I met Neil Patrick Harris a couple weeks ago. People from SNL come all the time because we're like in this little comedy cult, it feels.
Yeah.
But I mean, Titus was there a couple weeks ago. Like just so cool. But Neil Patrick Harris said, I love your voice. You're amazing. And I was like, oh my God, first of all, I can't speak.
So were you Celine for Neil Patrick Harris?
I was. And he was front row, which is so fun. Most people, I think some people in the cast don't like to know when celebrities and stuff are coming. I love it. I'm like, tell me everything. I just like, I love the pressure.
As sure as Celine, like she would want to know.
She want to know. She'd be like, oh, my friend too. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. You can target certain jokes and
Exactly. No, exactly. But he said, I love your voice. And I was so honored. And then I was like, oh my God, that's not my voice at all. Like, that's not what I sound. That's not me. That's not me. He just complimented Celine Dion. Like, that's not me at all. Which is strange because you're performing kind of as someone else, which I guess is the case for anything really, except that this is a real impersonation. Anyway, it's just, lots of practice, lots of listening, and then checking back in to make sure I'm not starting to like run with an idea as opposed to what's actually her. So just like checking back in with my girl Celine every once in a while. It's just been so much fun. It's been so much fun and a real challenge. Just awesome. I feel so lucky.
Well, we're so lucky to know you and to have you as a friend of CTL and to constantly be checking with us and not forgetting about CTL, which is amazing.
Never. It's such a huge part of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
We're announcing season 48 tonight.
48. Wow.
48. Wow. Middle-aged girl.
I was there for season 1. No, I'm kidding.
We're not that old. Yes. Come on.
I'm not that old.
Are there any? There's a ton of shows out there being talked about that people want to hear that we're doing. Is there like what's your next what's a dream gig? Like what? You don't have to tell us like what you're like auditioning for now, but like what's out there that you want to do now, especially now that you found this like comedy streak. Like
I know, I was in callbacks for 7 years for Cynthia Weil for Beautiful.
Wow.
For Broadway and the tour. And then now that it's finally been licensed for regional theaters, I would love to do Cynthia. I'm kind of in a strange holding pattern though of like, I love the job I have and I don't necessarily want to leave the job I have. But if that one popped up, I might be tempted to go do it. I think she's quirky and offbeat and a trailblazer. And I think she's so interesting. And I love that music. And I would love to. We
just opened season 47 with Beautiful CTL. And a fellow Loyal Sock grad, Hannah Ranke, played our Cynthia.
I'm sure she was lovely.
It was amazing. Yeah.
It's such a good show. I hope everyone in the community saw it. That's just, the writing is so good. It's so good. And who doesn't love Carole King and Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil? Like, who doesn't love them?
Yeah, right. So we'll manifest a little beautiful Carole King for you.
Thank you.
Everyone say their affirmations and we'll get it out there in the Carole King.
My daily affirmations.
Cynthia Weil.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for checking in with us. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Everyone, you can still donate to Raise the Region. The link is in the description below. We'll also drop a link for Titanic tickets and all of Tessa's handles. Follow her. Give her some love on the social media platforms. And she posts some great stuff sometimes.
Sometimes.
TikTok too, right? We'll put TikTok.
Yeah, you can follow me on TikTok. If we don't get banned, you can follow me on TikTok too.
Listen.
Drama.
Way to get it political, Tess. We were fine for 30 minutes. and
Sorry,
now
I'm
you're-
so sorry. I'm sorry.
Don't go to college. No plan B.
Don't go to college.
Celine would be so disappointed in you.
No, Celine would be like, do what works for you. Just do what works for you.
There you go.
I
Awesome.
love it.
There you
Okay.
go. Thank
You
you,
two have
everyone.
a wonderful day. Good luck with the rest of your interviews. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tess. Bye.